Hello. Look after your brain. Very important. You have got one complex, intricate, I don't even know the correct words to describe your brain. It's important to look after your brain. And the reason why I'm going to be sharing with this is because of a personal experience that reminded me how important our brain is. And that as individuals, we need to develop a habit of looking after our brains. But not only our brains, literally, but our whole body, but one organ that is really important, not to say other organs are not important, is your brain. Now, before I talk about your brain, I would like to introduce myself, if that's okay with you. My name is Gwyneth, and what do? I share daily videos on social media platforms, and within these videos, it contains one habit that you could adopt for your success should you choose to do so. Now, going back to that habit that I shared with you earlier, to say look after your brain is very, very important. I'm not going to give you the anatomy of the brain, or you've got this white matter and then you've got this part of the brain, and now I'm not going to label the brain. I'm just talking about how it's important and what are the things that you could do to actually look after your brain. Maybe with time we'll get into it into detail. However, as a disclaimer, I am not a brain specialist. So I am talking from a perspective of my personal experience. Here comes the context. Now, last night I was driving from one destination to another destination. So luckily I am driving on a road which is well lit. We've got the street lamps and they're also cat's eye. So I'm driving. So as I continue driving, and then all of a sudden the street lamps, they finish, meaning that the road ahead of me is a little bit darker. I cannot see that far ahead. However, I could use the cat's eyes on the road. Now listen, bear with me. You might be saying, yeah, isn't that obvious? I know it's obvious. But the minute, because I got used to driving where it was lit, not that I've never driven where there are no lights before, but I experienced something quite interesting that I thought it's worth to share, because it served as a reminder that we need to look after our brains. Okay, going back to me driving. So I'm driving, I don't have any street lights anymore. I've got the cat's eyes to guide me where I need to go, but I cannot see far ahead of me. So the image that I could see ahead of me, it was more of a V shape. So it was like, oh my goodness, the road is closing in and it's a dead end. But obviously I've been driving for such a long time, I know that's not the case. But it didn't stop that thought process. It didn't stop me thinking that, oh my gosh, I don't know where I'm going. And then from me thinking that, then I started to have a little bit of fear, started to panic a little bit. Because of that experience, it got me thinking how important our brains are. It was a tiny little thought that got me all panicky, and I was driving. But because I'm an experienced driver, I've been driving for some time, I already knew that's not the case. Now imagine for someone who, one, is unfamiliar with the roads, because it was a road that I'm familiar with. I know it's going to carry and I know it's going to take me to where I'm going to, because I've journeyed on that road on several occasions. Imagine the first time a driver, you're driving on that road, you've never been on that road before, you've got that little panic. I can only imagine what could have happened. Either you might have swerved a bit, causing disturbances to other drivers. But this is just me saying hypothetically, what if? But that's not the case. So when I started thinking about the brain, I thought to myself, wow, the brain plays a major role in our lives. It helps us to think. The brain not even helps us to think, the brain thinks. It helps us to feel our surroundings, it helps us to feel, see, actually experience our surroundings. It also tells us what to say. So can you see how important the brain is? And also our behaviors. It also tells us how we need to behave. Now, because I'm talking about the brain and the importance of looking after your brain, I'm just going to share a few tips as to what you could do to look after your brain. 1, sleep. Make sure you've got enough sleep so that you can rest. Have you been in a situation whereby you're like, you haven't had enough sleep, and then all of a sudden, what were we talking about? What was it? You're losing your memory. So try and look after your brain. Make sure it's getting enough sleep. Protect your head. That goes without saying. If you're going to be doing either extreme sports, or maybe you're going to do something that you know will or might damage your head or have some sort of head injury, protect it. Yes, there are protective gears out there that you can actually put on your head and protect yourself. And then the third thing is eat healthy foods that are going to help your brains. I think what's recommended is the Mediterranean diet, which is heavily plant-based diet. So try and eat loads of plant-based diet to help your brain, because remember, it helps you to think, it helps you to feel, it helps you to say things, it also helps you to sense the world around you. And then the last one, which I'm going to share with you because I don't want this video to be so long, would be to exercise regularly. So what is recommended is just about 15 minutes per day, but if you can do about 30 to 60 minutes per week, that is also good. Now imagine what exercise does. It actually helps the heart pump faster, meaning that your blood moves around the body a little bit more, and that movement of the blood has got oxygen, and you do want oxygen in your brain. So those are my tips there to say, you know what, look after your brain. How do you do that? Sleep, protect your brain, make sure you eat healthy foods, make sure you exercise regularly. Obviously there is more that cannot be covered in this video, but today we're just going to keep it short, sweet, and very informative. Now it's time for me to say goodbye. It's been a pleasure sharing this video with you. Thank you so much for listening up until this point. And also thank you to those that have subscribed, will subscribe, and those that have followed and will follow, and those that will share, that have shared, and truly appreciate you as an individual. Now, I would like to wish you the best in your endeavors, but mainly in your success in every area of your life, because once you actually gain that success, life is sweet and blissful. Up until you see me in tomorrow's video, I would like to say to you, God bless.